We're here with Hans Setzer in the Weinviertel, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about the 2019 vintage where he's located. And Hans, if you could just talk a little bit about where you are, because this is a very specific and interesting place for grape growing and winemaking, and then talk a little bit about the vintage.
Okay, yes, I will. First of all, welcome everybody. We're here in the tasting room at Setzer in the heart of Weinviertel. Now it's 4 p.m. We have great weather today. It's really completely sunny, but it's cold. So in the morning we have 2-3 degrees Celsius, but now we have about between 15 and 20 degrees Celsius. So weather is good for now, for April, an average April. But 2019 vintage was, how to say, excellent, absolutely marvelous wines. I think the reason starts in spring, because we had an average spring, and you have to know from the end of the blossoming, it's normally in June, you have just 100 days and then the picking season starts. It's always every year just 100 days. June, July and August, if you have perfect condition, maybe it could be 95 days. And if you have bad conditions, just 105 days. So then average, if we have the end of the blossoming, we know how the direction goes for the picking season. And in vintage 2019, we had the blossoming more than 2 weeks later than 2018. It was approximately in an average time from the last 15 years. And so the picking season started in the middle of September. And I think the most important for the quality was we got enough rain every 3 to 4 weeks, a really intense rain. So we had the whole summer no problem with water. And in the same way, in the middle of August, the nights started to get cool and really intense cool. For example, we had from the middle of August in the night between 5 and 8 degrees Celsius, really cold. And the cold nights we had the whole picking season. And the result of the cold nights is we saved the aromatic, and in the same wise we saved the acidity. So you can taste at the berries in September, they had so much to say on aromatic, but always with a high content of physiological ripeness. For example, if you taste the 2019's wines now, they are not green aromatic. For example, with an apple, they don't smell like a green acid Granny Smith apple, but also they don't smell like an overripe yellow intense apple who was 2 weeks beside the window. 2019 is exactly in the middle. So you have the aromatic of a classic white peppery, typical Grüne Veltliner with good intensity and less exotic. And on the palate, you feel the concentration and especially on the finish, the good and well-balanced acidity. So for sure, 2019 is a really, really great vintage in Hohenwald, where we come from, and will age very, very well. For me, 2019 for our whites, I compare this 2019 like Bordeaux 82, because you have everything but nothing overloaded. It feels good after 8 months of picking, and at the same, you feel the consistency and the intensity for well aging in the bottle. And I think that's the excellent thing of 2019. Maybe we have also an advantage from the location Hohenwald, because Hohenwald means high point of view. So we are 200 meter in the elevation higher than the Danube, and so a little bit cooler always in every years. And we have very light, sandy, chalky soils. And this combination with enough rain, chalky soil, and cool nights brought us a really fantastic vintage 2019.
Thank you very much. Can you talk for just a minute about some of the other grape varieties that you grow apart from Gruner Veltliner and Riesling? We, was 19 favoring one particular grape variety in your mind, or was it kind of even for all grape varieties?
I think especially for the whites, depending on the cool climate nights, for all whites. But for me, the winner of 2019 are Grün and Rote Veltliner. The two Veltliner grapes, I think, are the favorites. But all whites are really, really impressive and intense, but especially the Veltliners are. And in vintage like 2019, where the whole range of the wines from one grape tastes very well, the value is excellent, especially at the entry-level wines at liters or so. They're much too good for liters. But that's always like I compare with Bordeaux as well, because in 1982 you can buy and drink the third row of Bordeaux, and they're all very good. And 2019 in Austria is as well.
Excellent. Maybe for anybody who might be watching this and not super familiar with Roter Veltliner, as it was not always offered the same wine every single year. What that grape variety is like, I think hearing directly from you would be helpful.
Okay. Rote Veltliner. Rote means red because the berries, the skin of the berries, getting a little bit color, just brick red color, not like the red grapes. The red grapes are getting dark blue and black, not like this, just like Pinot Gris, a little bit brick red. So it's a pure autochthonous white wine grape. It's impossible to get a red color in the juice. Never. Also, if you wait with crushed berries for 20 hours, you have no color in the juice. And the very specific is one of the oldest white wine grapes we have in Austria is this. At the time of my grandfather, here in our wine estate, we had more than 50% of our production Rote Veltliner. And there is no relation to Grüne Veltliner. There's from the genetic completely different, one of the oldest grapes we have. And the very special is Rote Veltliner is growing in the vineyard very intense. And Rote Veltliner gets botrytis very easily. So it's necessary to have extremely light soils and areas where you have less rain to reduce the growing, to wait for picking until the end of October with healthy grapes. So we can say these conditions are only here around 20 miles around Hohenwald. We are close to the Wagram, so this region, 20 miles around this table where I'm sitting now, is 95% of the Austrian Rote Veltliner, because these grapes need these conditions. And that's the very specific in the vineyard for this grape. In the glass, I would say, between Grüne Veltliner and Rote Veltliner, Rote Veltliner doesn't have this peppery notes. Rote Veltliner goes especially on the palate, more in the intensity, more roasted almonds. But both grapes have the same for aging. They don't get the petrol notes like Riesling, both not, the Rote Veltliner not and also the Grüne not. And they age very, very well, both. We both together, Gabe, we both together tasted 87 Rote Veltliner, or last year the 1990 Grüne Veltliner Ausstieg from the Magnum bottle. So both age really well.
They do. It's pretty amazing, remarkable wines, and I think really a wonderful description of Roter Veltliner from you. Thank you for that. Anybody have any questions for Hans about the vintage 2019 specifically, or anything else? I mean, you could certainly give me some grooming tips. You look fantastic, like you just came out of a really nice restaurant, whereas the rest of us are, I can only speak for myself. Could use a barber. Anyone else?
I look amazing.
You do.
I'm not with coffee. I'm with wine.
I just love that the jacket matches the walls. Yeah, it's amazing. Can you tell me if any of your if there are any vineyards in particular that did especially well in 2019 for you, and just out of curiosity, like how that affects some of your other wines, the higher end wines?
From the single vineyards, now all single vineyards at this time are babies now. So there are since 2 weeks away from the yeast. So after spontaneic, I have to say first, all single vineyards, we do with all single vineyards in the cellar the same. We do nothing. That means we pick the grapes, the crushed berries, we hold them in the press between 2 hours and 12 hours. And afterwards, gently pressing, and 12 hours, just sedimentation. And then we do all single vineyards in stainless steel. In stainless steel, we do spontaneic yeast fermentation and mature the single vineyards on their yeasts until April. So 2 weeks ago, we separated the single vineyards from the yeasts, and they are now really babies, and they're the first time really tasteable. And I think for me, for all my single vineyards, one of the most outstanding single vineyards of 2019 is Roter Veltliner Kreimelberg. Single vineyard Kreimelberg is the oldest vineyard we have, more than 50-year-old vines of Roter Veltliner. And this one tastes really marvelous at this time. And 8,000 is every year. The 8,000 single vineyard is with the intense planting of 8,000 vines per hectare. The vineyard now is 24 years old, and every year he expressed the chalky soil, but that's normal. 8,000 is always a benchmark for a Roter Veltliner at the single vineyards. But this year, 2019, I think for me, the Roter Veltliner Kreimelberg is really one of my favorites, of course.
Thanks, Hans. Matt asked if Gruner Veltliner and Roter Veltliner are not related, which they're not. Why was 2019 ideal for both specific grape varieties?
I have no idea. I have no idea. It happens.
One of the things that we heard from another grower, not in your region, but in the Comtal, was that the quality of the fruit was excellent in terms of very low pressure from normal diseases, oidium, peronospora, that there was very little selection needed in 2019, that the fruit itself was very, very clean. Did you experience the same thing? And if so, maybe that's one of the reasons that it's great for both grape varieties.
We are not so in a huge side of our vineyard. We're a small wine estate, and so we always, every year, have really clean grapes. We are working the whole year in the vineyard. We are really freaks to have healthy grapes. So it's necessary, especially June and July, to doing a good job with leaves away where the grapes are. But only on the morning side, we do the leaves away. So in this 4 or 5 weeks, it's necessary to control the vineyard every 3 days minimum to see what's happened there. And if you do this, you have every year clean, really clean grapes and no problem with mildew. It is not possible with wine estates with 50, 70, 90 hectares. So there always is a little bit of problem in a single vineyard, next year in a different single vineyard. We had no problem. I think the last 10 years, just one times we had a little bit to struggle with mildew. I think it was 2010, but there was hail also. But normally we don't have problems with this.
Excellent. Thank you, Hans. Any other questions for Hans before we sign off? No? Okay.